There is something incredibly powerful about being alone. It may seem counterintuitive at first. Many of us are conditioned to think that being alone is a sign of weakness, or that we must constantly be surrounded by others to be happy or successful. But I want you to understand today that there is an undeniable strength that comes from being alone. In fact, some of the most powerful and transformative moments in life happen when we are alone, when we stand in our own company, and when we realize that we don't need anyone's validation to feel whole. Being alone is often seen in a negative light in our society. We are constantly bombarded with the idea that we must always be surrounded by others to be happy, successful, or validated. But I want to challenge that belief today and show you how being alone can actually be one of the most powerful and transformative experiences of your life. When you learn to embrace solitude, you open yourself up to growth, clarity, and personal strength that can't be found when you are constantly surrounded by noise and distractions. The first powerful aspect of being alone is that it gives you the opportunity to truly connect with yourself. We live in a fast-paced world where the demands of life can often drown out our inner voice. But when you spend time alone, you allow yourself the space to listen to that voice. You can hear your thoughts without external influence, and you can reconnect with your own desires, passions, and dreams. This is when the clarity begins to emerge. It's when you truly understand who you are, what you want, and where you're going. Being alone gives you the chance to tune into your own heart, your own soul, and your own truth. Being alone also empowers you to build inner strength. So often we look to others for validation, comfort, and support, but true strength comes from within. When you spend time alone, you learn to rely on yourself. You learn that you can face challenges, make decisions, and move forward without needing anyone else's approval or reassurance. You become resilient in the face of adversity, and you develop the confidence to tackle whatever life throws at you. You realize that you don't need to lean on anyone else to feel secure. You are your own support system, and that is incredibly empowering. When you are alone, you also have the freedom to focus on your own goals and ambitions without the distractions of other people's opinions or expectations. You are free to dream big, set your own course, and take bold steps toward your future. Without the influence of others, you are able to stay true to your own path and pursue what truly matters to you. There is no pressure to conform to anyone else's agenda, and you have the space to nurture your own vision of success. This freedom allows you to create a life that is authentically yours. Furthermore, being alone gives you the opportunity to heal. Many times we stay busy and surround ourselves with others in order to avoid facing our own pain or emotions. But being alone gives you the time and space to confront what needs healing. It allows you to process past hurts, to reflect on your experiences, and to work through any emotional wounds. Healing is not something that can be rushed, and sometimes it's only in solitude that we can fully address and let go of the things that are holding us back. Being alone provides the necessary environment for self-reflection and growth, which are vital steps in emotional healing. Another powerful aspect of being alone is the ability to discover who you truly are without the influence of anyone else. We often shape our identities based on the people around us, whether it's family, friends, or society. But when you are alone, you have the opportunity to peel away all those layers and rediscover the person you were always meant to be. You learn to trust your own instincts, make your own decisions, and embrace your uniqueness. You stop seeking validation from others and start appreciating yourself for who you truly are. This self-acceptance is a powerful foundation for building a fulfilling and meaningful life. Being alone also allows you to experience a deeper level of gratitude. When you spend time alone, you become more aware of the things you have in your life and the blessings that you sometimes take for granted. You have the time to reflect on what truly matters: your health, your freedom, your relationships, and your opportunities. This gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you to see your life in a more positive light. It allows you to appreciate the small moments, to find joy in the present, and to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Finally, being alone gives you the opportunity to grow in your own time. Growth is a personal journey, and it doesn't follow a set timeline. When you're constantly surrounded by others, there can be pressure to keep up or measure your progress by their standards. But when you're alone, you can go at your own pace. You can take the time you need to learn, to evolve, and to become the best version of yourself. There's no rush. You are allowed to take the time to heal, to grow, and to move forward when you're ready, not when others think you should. In conclusion, being alone is not a sign of weakness or loneliness. It's a powerful tool for self-discovery, growth, healing, and inner strength. When you embrace being alone, you give yourself the opportunity to connect with your true self, to build resilience, to pursue your dreams, and to heal from the past. Being alone allows you to become the best version of yourself, independent of anyone else's influence. It is in solitude that you will find the clarity, strength, and confidence to create the life you were meant to live. True happiness comes from within, and this profound truth becomes even more apparent when you embrace the power of being alone. In a world that often encourages us to seek external validation and find fulfillment in relationships, achievements, or possessions, it's easy to forget that the deepest source of happiness is rooted within ourselves. When you take the time to be alone, you create the space to reconnect with who you truly are and what you truly need without the influence or distractions of others. In that space, you discover that happiness isn't dependent on anything external. It's already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. When we talk about being alone, we're not talking about loneliness. Loneliness stems from a sense of lack, an unmet need for connection or validation from the outside world. But being alone in its true essence is about finding peace in your own company. It's about giving yourself permission to stop seeking approval or love from others because you realize that the love and acceptance you've been searching for have always been inside you. Being alone allows you to detach from the need for external validation and turn inward to find contentment in who you are at your core. One of the greatest gifts of solitude is the opportunity for self-reflection. When you are alone, free from distractions and the demands of others, you have the time to evaluate your life, your choices, and your dreams. You can ask yourself important questions like, what do I truly want in life? What are my passions? What makes me happy? These are questions that can easily be lost in the noise of everyday life, but solitude offers you the clarity to hear your own thoughts and discover the answers. It's in these moments of reflection that you realize happiness is not found in external accomplishments or people, but in aligning with your true self. Furthermore, being alone allows you to reconnect with your purpose. We often get caught up in the rush of life, focusing on pleasing others, meeting deadlines, or striving to achieve things that are expected of us. But in solitude, we can rediscover what truly matters to us and reignite our passion for the things that make us feel alive. Whether it's pursuing a hobby, diving into a project, or simply taking time to rest and recharge, being alone gives us the opportunity to follow our own path without the pressure to meet others' expectations. This sense of autonomy and direction is deeply fulfilling and leads to a sense of inner peace. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to lose sight of who we really are. We may start to define ourselves by the roles we play in other people's lives, whether as a partner, friend, or colleague. But when we take time to be alone, we can shed those external labels and reconnect with our truest selves. In solitude, you are not defined by what others think of you. You are simply you, with all your strengths, flaws, and dreams. This self-awareness brings with it a sense of self-acceptance and love that cannot be found in relationships or external achievements. True happiness comes from knowing and embracing who you are without needing anyone else's approval. Another powerful aspect of being alone is the opportunity to heal. Life brings its challenges, its ups and downs, and sometimes we carry emotional wounds with us. Being alone gives us the space and time to process these emotions, reflect on our experiences, and allow ourselves to heal. In solitude, we are free from the distractions of the outside world, and we can address the pain we may have been avoiding. This healing process may take time, but it's a crucial step in discovering true happiness. You can't fully embrace happiness until you've allowed yourself to heal and release the past. Moreover, when you are alone, you realize that happiness isn't something you have to chase or achieve. It's not found in getting that promotion, meeting the right person, or acquiring the next material possession. Those things might bring temporary satisfaction, but true happiness comes from within. It's an internal state of being. Being alone allows you to sit in that stillness and experience happiness in its purest form. You realize that the most fulfilling moments are often the simplest ones, the quiet moments of peace, the satisfaction of following your own path, and the joy of self-discovery. In solitude, you also learn the importance of gratitude. When we are constantly looking outward, we often overlook the blessings we already have. But when you take the time to be alone, you become more attuned to the beauty in your life. You start to notice the small things, the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of birds singing, the feeling of accomplishment when you complete a task on your own. These moments of gratitude bring a deep sense of contentment, reinforcing the idea that happiness doesn't come from anything outside of you. It's already present in the world around you, waiting to be noticed. Ultimately, being alone teaches us the invaluable lesson that we are enough as we are. We don't need to constantly seek out people or things to complete us. Happiness is not dependent on anyone else's presence or approval. It is something we cultivate within ourselves. The more we embrace solitude, the more we realize that we are worthy of love, joy, and fulfillment simply because we exist. When you understand that true happiness comes from within, you free yourself from the need to seek it elsewhere. So I encourage you today to embrace the power of being alone. Use this time to reconnect with yourself, reflect on your life, heal from past wounds, and discover what truly brings you joy. The happiness you seek has always been inside you, and in the stillness of being alone, you will find it waiting to emerge. Being alone is often perceived as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. Society often tells us that we must always be surrounded by others to feel fulfilled, valued, or successful. But the truth is, there is immense power in solitude. When you learn to embrace being alone, you unlock a sense of empowerment that comes from independence. This is not about isolating yourself from others, but about discovering the strength that lies within when you can stand on your own. It's a transformative experience that opens doors to personal growth, resilience, and self-confidence. Independence at its core is about relying on yourself. It's the ability to make decisions based on your own values, desires, and intuition without constantly seeking approval or validation from others. When you spend time alone, you are no longer dependent on others for your happiness, your sense of worth, or your direction in life. You realize that you have the power to shape your own path, to make choices that align with your goals and aspirations. In those moments of solitude, you are free from the noise and distractions of the outside world, and you can focus entirely on yourself. One of the most powerful aspects of independence is the sense of self-reliance it cultivates. In a world where it's easy to lean on others for support or guidance, learning to be alone teaches you how to rely on your own inner resources. You begin to trust yourself more deeply. You understand that you have the strength and wisdom within you to navigate life's challenges, to solve problems, and to achieve your dreams. You stop waiting for others to step in and solve things for you because you realize you are more than capable of doing it yourself. Being alone also allows you to build resilience. Life is filled with ups and downs, and at times we all face adversity. When you are alone, you are forced to confront challenges head-on without relying on anyone else for help or comfort. It's in these moments that you discover how strong you truly are. You learn to bounce back from setbacks, to keep moving forward even when things get tough. The more you face difficulties on your own, the more you build your emotional strength and mental toughness. You realize that you don't need to rely on others to weather the storms of life. You are fully equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Independence also empowers you to pursue your passions and dreams without compromise. When you are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to get caught up in their expectations or opinions. But when you spend time alone, you are free to focus entirely on what matters to you. You can pursue your interests without distraction or judgment. Whether it's a career goal, a creative project, or a personal dream, being alone gives you the time and space to dedicate yourself fully to what you love. You stop letting other people's priorities dictate your own, and instead you take charge of your life and go after what sets your soul on fire. Another important aspect of empowerment through independence is the ability to set boundaries. When you're alone, you realize how important it is to protect your time, energy, and emotions. You learn how to say no to things that drain you or don't align with your values. This isn't about being selfish, it's about understanding your worth and recognizing that you deserve to prioritize your well-being. In solitude, you gain the clarity to see what serves you and what doesn't. You begin to create healthy boundaries with others and with yourself, allowing you to preserve your energy and focus on what truly matters. Being alone also helps you to strengthen your self-confidence. When you are constantly surrounded by others, it can be easy to compare yourself to them or rely on their opinions to validate your choices. But in solitude, you learn to trust your own instincts and judgments. You begin to see that you are capable of making decisions that are right for you without needing anyone else's approval. This self-assurance builds over time, and the more you embrace being alone, the more confident you become in your own abilities. You realize that you are enough just as you are, and that you don't need anyone else to complete you or give you worth. Independence also leads to a greater sense of freedom. When you are always surrounded by others, it can feel like you are constantly being pulled in different directions, trying to please everyone and meet their needs. But when you are alone, you are free to make decisions based on what's best for you, not what others expect of you. You can structure your day, your priorities, and your life in a way that aligns with your values and goals. This freedom to live authentically, without the pressure of external expectations, is incredibly liberating and empowering. Furthermore, being alone gives you the space to heal and grow. There's no one else to distract you from dealing with your emotions or reflecting on past experiences. You can take the time to work through any pain or unresolved issues and come out on the other side stronger and more self-aware. This healing process is essential for personal growth, and when you embrace solitude, you give yourself the opportunity to become the best version of yourself. As you heal and grow, you gain a deeper understanding of who you are and what you need to thrive. In conclusion, being alone is not something to fear or avoid. It is a powerful tool for personal empowerment. It gives you the space to build independence, resilience, and confidence, and it allows you to reconnect with your true self. Through solitude, you learn to trust yourself, set boundaries, and pursue your passions without compromise. You gain the freedom to live life on your own terms, and you discover the strength that comes from standing on your own. Embrace the power of being alone, and you will unlock a level of empowerment that can transform every aspect of your life. Being alone is often misunderstood in our busy world, but it holds a unique power that many overlook. In a society where social connections, relationships, and constant interactions are highly valued, the idea of being alone can feel intimidating or even lonely. However, there is immense freedom and personal growth that comes from embracing solitude. When you are alone, you have the chance to reconnect with your true self and unlock new levels of self-awareness, clarity, and strength. This solitude can become a sanctuary for personal growth, where you are free to explore your inner world, reflect on your experiences, and take intentional steps toward a better, more fulfilled version of yourself. One of the most profound aspects of being alone is the freedom it grants you. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to get caught up in the expectations and demands of others. Whether it's trying to meet the needs of family, friends, or colleagues, or living up to the expectations society places on us, we often find ourselves losing touch with our own desires, goals, and values. Being alone allows you to step back from the noise and take control of your own life. You can choose how to spend your time, what to focus on, and what direction to take, all without the pressure of others influencing your decisions. This freedom is not just physical, it's mental and emotional as well. When you are alone, you have the space to think freely without anyone else's opinions clouding your judgment. You are free to explore your thoughts, reflect on your past, and dream about your future without the constant distraction of external noise. This mental freedom allows you to get clear on what you truly want out of life and gives you the confidence to pursue those goals. You are no longer bound by the opinions of others or the need to please anyone. In solitude, you are free to be yourself unapologetically. In addition to freedom, being alone provides the opportunity for profound personal growth. When we are constantly surrounded by others, we often rely on them for validation, advice, or direction. While this can be helpful at times, it can also prevent us from developing our own sense of self and learning how to navigate life on our own. Solitude encourages self-discovery. It allows you to dig deeper into your own thoughts and feelings without the distractions of the outside world. You begin to understand who you truly are, what you value, and what you need to thrive. Through this process of self-discovery, you also develop emotional strength. Being alone often forces you to confront difficult emotions and experiences. In solitude, you are faced with your own thoughts, your past, and your emotions, things that may have been buried or overlooked in the hustle of daily life. It's in these moments of reflection that you gain clarity and insight. You learn how to process your emotions, heal from past hurts, and move forward with a greater understanding of yourself. The growth that comes from working through these challenges on your own is incredibly empowering. You realize that you are capable of handling difficult situations, and you develop a sense of inner strength that you might not have discovered while surrounded by others. Personal growth also comes from the space to create and pursue your own goals. When you're alone, you have the freedom to focus on your passions, your dreams, and your ambitions. You don't have to answer to anyone else or compromise on what truly matters to you. This is the time to invest in yourself, to explore your interests, learn new skills, and develop your talents. Whether it's starting a new project, pursuing further education, or simply taking time for self-care, being alone gives you the opportunity to invest in your personal growth without distraction. You realize that the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself, and in solitude you can nourish that relationship and become the best version of yourself. Furthermore, being alone encourages self-reliance and independence. It's easy to depend on others for support, guidance, or validation, but when you are alone, you learn how to rely on yourself. You become more resourceful, more confident in your decision-making, and more capable of taking care of your own needs. You develop the ability to handle life's challenges on your own, and this independence gives you a sense of empowerment that is deeply fulfilling. You no longer feel dependent on anyone else's approval or support to succeed. Instead, you trust in your own abilities and know that you have the strength to create the life you desire. In solitude, you also have the opportunity to reconnect with your passions and dreams. Life can often get in the way of pursuing what truly excites and inspires us. We may get caught up in obligations, responsibilities, or trying to meet the expectations of others. But when you are alone, you can focus entirely on what sets your soul on fire. Whether it's a creative endeavor, a new career path, or a personal project, being alone gives you the space to invest fully in what makes you feel alive. You can follow your own rhythm, make your own decisions, and take your own path. This focus on your own desires leads to personal fulfillment and a deep sense of joy. Being alone also cultivates a deep sense of peace. In the absence of external distractions and pressures, you can truly hear your own thoughts and experience life in a way that brings you calm and contentment. You learn to enjoy your own company and embrace the stillness. This peace is not dependent on external circumstances, it comes from within. It's a reminder that happiness is not something you need to seek outside of yourself, it is already inside you, waiting to be experienced. In conclusion, being alone is not something to fear or avoid. It is an opportunity for freedom and personal growth. It gives you the space to reconnect with your true self, discover your passions, and pursue your goals. It strengthens your emotional resilience, builds your independence, and allows you to create a life that is authentic and fulfilling. The power of solitude is transformative. It empowers you to grow, to heal, and to become the best version of yourself. So embrace the time you spend alone and use it as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Being alone is often seen as something to fear or avoid, but there is profound power in solitude, especially when it comes to building resilience and confidence. In a world that constantly pushes for external validation and social connection, we sometimes forget the incredible strength that can emerge from spending time alone. When we learn to be comfortable in our own company, we cultivate a deep sense of inner strength that not only helps us face life's challenges, but also empowers us to grow and become the best version of ourselves. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, is something that is often forged in moments of solitude. When we face difficult circumstances, whether it be personal challenges, career setbacks, or emotional struggles, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the weight of the situation. However, being alone gives us the space and time to process these emotions, reflect on the situation, and strategize how to move forward. In these quiet moments, we can tap into our inner resources and find the strength to keep going. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back quickly. It's about learning from each experience, growing stronger, and having the courage to keep going despite setbacks. When we are alone, we are given the opportunity to build that resilience through self-reflection and introspection. Spending time alone allows us to face our fears, confront our insecurities, and grow stronger as a result. Often we look for comfort in the company of others, seeking reassurance or advice. While support from others can be valuable, it is in solitude that we learn to trust ourselves. Being alone teaches us to stand on our own 2 feet and find solutions within ourselves rather than relying on others. As we face challenges and learn to navigate them independently, we build resilience that becomes a foundation for all areas of our lives. So, this resilience is not just about surviving difficult times. It is about thriving through adversity and coming out stronger on the other side. Confidence is another key byproduct of being alone. In a world that often pressures us to meet external expectations and to seek approval from others, being alone helps us reconnect with who we truly are. When we take the time to be by ourselves, we have the opportunity to reflect on our strengths, our values, and our goals. We no longer have to conform to other people's standards or seek their approval. In solitude, we can develop a deeper understanding of ourselves, which builds confidence from the inside out. The more time we spend alone, the more we realize that we are capable of achieving great things on our own. Whether it's tackling a personal project, pursuing a new skill, or making a tough decision, solitude gives us the space to take action and trust ourselves in the process. As we accomplish tasks independently, we gain confidence in our abilities, and that confidence spills over into other aspects of our lives. We become more assertive, more decisive, and more self-assured because we know that we can rely on ourselves. Being alone also provides the opportunity to silence the external voices that often cloud our judgment. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to become influenced by their opinions and expectations. These external voices can undermine our confidence, making us second-guess ourselves or doubt our choices. But when we spend time alone, we create the space to listen to our own voice, the one that is grounded in our own values and desires. This internal clarity boosts our confidence because we no longer need to seek validation from others. We begin to trust our own instincts, knowing that we are capable of making the best decisions for ourselves. Additionally, being alone allows us to work through our challenges without the distractions or judgments of others. This process of self-reliance builds resilience because we learn to navigate difficult situations without external support. We become resourceful, adaptable, and more prepared for whatever comes our way. Every time we face a challenge on our own and overcome it, we add another layer to our resilience and self-assurance. Being alone is also an opportunity to develop a strong sense of self-worth. When we're constantly surrounded by people or seeking their approval, it's easy to lose sight of our own value. However, solitude provides us with the time to reflect on our accomplishments, our qualities, and the unique traits that make us who we are. We begin to realize that our worth does not depend on anyone else's opinion, it comes from within. This understanding of our inherent value is what builds both resilience and confidence as we no longer seek validation from others, but instead draw strength from knowing our own worth. In the process of being alone, we develop the ability to prioritize ourselves and our needs. When we are constantly seeking the approval or attention of others, it's easy to lose touch with what we truly want and need. Being alone gives us the chance to reconnect with our inner desires and make decisions that are in alignment with our personal growth. This self-prioritization fosters confidence because we take ownership of our lives and our choices. Being alone can be challenging at times, but it is also a powerful tool for building resilience and confidence. It teaches us to trust ourselves, to embrace our own strengths, and to navigate life's challenges independently. As we become more comfortable in solitude, we realize that we are stronger, more capable, and more resilient than we ever imagined. In the quiet moments of being alone, we find the power to rise above adversity, grow into the person we are meant to be, and build a foundation of confidence that will carry us through every aspect of our lives. Embrace the power of solitude, and you will discover an inner strength that will help you face anything life throws your way. Being alone is often seen as a challenging or even uncomfortable experience. Yet in solitude, there is a unique opportunity for healing and reflection that cannot always be found when we are surrounded by others. It is in these quiet moments of being alone that we allow ourselves the time and space to heal from past wounds, process our emotions, and reflect on the experiences that have shaped us. This process is powerful because it enables us to grow and move forward with a sense of clarity, peace, and renewed strength. Healing is a deeply personal and sometimes painful journey. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it can be difficult to confront the emotions and experiences that we may have pushed aside or avoided. In the noise of everyday life, it's easy to suppress our feelings or distract ourselves from the things that need our attention. But being alone offers us the time to sit with our thoughts and emotions without the distraction of others' opinions or the pressure to be okay. It is in these moments of solitude that we allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel, whether that's sadness, frustration, or grief. These emotions are part of the healing process, and acknowledging them is the first step toward moving forward. When we are alone, we create an environment where we can reflect on our past experiences, our mistakes, and the lessons we've learned. Reflection allows us to look back with a sense of understanding and perspective. We can see how far we've come, the challenges we've overcome, and the strength we've developed. This process of reflection helps us make sense of our experiences and integrate them into our lives in a way that promotes healing. We gain clarity about what has hurt us, what has helped us grow, and what we need to let go of in order to move forward. Healing requires time and space, and being alone gives us the opportunity to devote that time to ourselves. When we are constantly surrounded by people or busy with activities, it's easy to neglect our own emotional needs. We may push ourselves to keep going, to remain strong for others, or to avoid confronting our feelings. But healing doesn't happen quickly. It's a gradual process that requires patience and self-compassion. Being alone allows us to take a step back, slow down, and focus on our own well-being. It's during these moments of solitude that we can engage in practices that promote healing, such as journaling, meditation, or simply resting. By giving ourselves the time and space to heal, we allow ourselves to recover fully and emerge stronger on the other side. Reflection also plays a crucial role in personal growth. When we are constantly moving forward, it's easy to overlook the lessons we've learned from our experiences. However, being alone provides the chance to reflect on our lives, our goals, and our values. We can ask ourselves important questions. What do I truly want? What are my priorities? What lessons can I take from the challenges I faced? Reflection helps us gain insight into our true desires and aspirations, which can guide us in making decisions that align with our authentic selves. It gives us the opportunity to course correct and ensure that we are moving in a direction that feels true to who we are. In solitude, we also become more attuned to our inner wisdom. When we quiet the external noise, we begin to hear the voice of our intuition more clearly. Our inner wisdom is often drowned out by the opinions and advice of others, but when we are alone, we can tune into our own guidance. This intuitive sense can help us make decisions that are in alignment with our values and our vision for our lives. We begin to trust ourselves more deeply and recognize that we have the answers within us. This trust in our own intuition is a powerful form of self-healing, as it empowers us to make choices that support our emotional and mental well-being. Being alone also allows us to heal from the relationships and situations that have caused us pain. When we are constantly surrounded by people, it can be difficult to fully process the emotional impact of relationships that have hurt us. However, in solitude, we have the space to reflect on what went wrong, what we learned, and how we can move forward. This reflection helps us release any negative emotions and free ourselves from the grip of past pain. It also gives us the opportunity to forgive, whether that means forgiving others or forgiving ourselves. Forgiveness is a key part of the healing process, and it's something that can only be fully embraced when we allow ourselves the time and space to reflect on it. Solitude gives us the power to heal in a way that feels authentic and personal. It allows us to be present with our emotions without the pressure to perform or conform. We can take the time to nurture ourselves, to process our pain, and to learn from our experiences. This space for healing is not only beneficial for our emotional well-being, but also for our mental and physical health. When we take the time to heal and reflect, we reduce stress, improve our mental clarity, and increase our overall sense of well-being. In conclusion, being alone is a powerful tool for healing and reflection. It provides the space and time we need to process our emotions, gain clarity, and grow from our experiences. In solitude, we have the opportunity to heal from past wounds, reflect on our journey, and develop the resilience needed to move forward. We emerge from this process stronger, more self-aware, and more capable of embracing the future with confidence. So instead of fearing solitude, we should embrace it as a time for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Through being alone, we find the strength and clarity to heal and become the best version of ourselves.